On World News Tonight this Wednesday, flying the empty skies. Thanks to the Millennium, air travelers won't have much company on New Year's. Did NATO forces commit war crimes in Kosovo? A UN court is investigating. America is gushing with wealth at year's end. We'll take a closer look at what's behind all this money and who isn't sharing it. And Chicago's plans for a truly global New Year's.
Oh, Australia!
A human Noah's Ark for the millennium.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Sitting in tonight, Jack Ford.
Good evening. Peter Jennings is in New York's Times Square tonight preparing for our Millennium broadcast. We're going to check in with him a little bit later in the program. But first, the latest news on the arrival of the year 2000 and the preparations for what might happen when it comes. We've known for some time that fewer people plan to fly this weekend, but it now appears that air traffic will be almost at a standstill as the new millennium begins. The nation's major airlines expect 500,000 fewer passengers than flew over New Year's 1 year ago. Here's ABC's Lisa Stark.
It is the nation's second busiest airport, but on New Year's Eve, Chicago O'Hare will virtually be a ghost town. Its two main carriers, United and American, have canceled nearly all evening flights.
Our daily passenger count is about 200,000 passengers, so we will see a significant drop in that count. We will probably go down to even less than 100,000.
All over the country, it will be the same. American Airlines canceling 20% of its service domestically. That's 500 flights. United down 34% worldwide, 850 flights. Delta a 22% reduction, 550 flights canceled.
You will start to see the crowds dwindle in the afternoon. And as you get into the early evening, 5, 6 p.m., 7 p.m., there will be fewer and fewer flights.
Airlines insist it is not Y2K fears that are keeping passengers off planes. Many people have to work New Year's Eve. Those that aren't working have Friday off, and if they're traveling, they're leaving early.
Polls show a very small percentage of the public is concerned about flying over New Year's. To show confidence in the system, FAA Administrator Jane Garvey is flying across the country as the date changes. But at one airport, they're leaving nothing to chance. Passengers in Denver will get flashlights, just in case the electricity fails. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Washington.
Precautions like these are common around the country as the millennium approaches. Despite all the reassurances from officials that nothing major will go wrong this weekend, a lot of people will be hard at work, keeping a close watch anyway. Here's ABC's James Walker.
These computer programmers outside San Francisco have been hired to double-check line after line of computer code for Y2K bugs. The code belongs to corporations, large and small, around the world.
Clients are still sending us code to be inspected for Y2K errors, and we are definitely still finding errors in that code.
Errors that could disrupt critical operations such as payroll, billing, and employee records. And what is alarming is that these are errors in computer code that the companies missed on the first go-around. It is a common problem.
Finding the Y2K bugs are difficult, and even though you finish the project and you say you're done, does not mean at all that all the Y2K bugs have been found and identified and corrected.
In fact, computer statistics indicate that as much as 12% of computer code that is fixed is then inadvertently reinfected.
Nobody can even guarantee they know exactly what the glitches are going to look like or where they're going to be.
And that's why, despite spending a total of some $100 billion, federal and local governments as well as corporations will be on guard New Year's Eve.
If any one thing can go wrong, we're ready to immediately address it.
And so are many other places. Troy, Michigan has stop signs ready if traffic lights fail. Residents in Minneapolis have been told to head for their local firehouse if power goes out. Corporations such as U.S. Steel will temporarily suspend operations. Amtrak trains will halt for 10 minutes just before the clock strikes 12. The Federal Reserve has printed an extra $50 billion in case a lot of people want to withdraw their money. Their advice is to take out whatever you would normally need for a long weekend. Government officials and most corporations remain very optimistic. But because not every single line of computer code can be tested, or let alone retested, there will be glitches. The question is, will they be manageable? James Walker, ABC News, New York.
Some other notes now about the country preparing for Y2K. The government is sending early Social Security and veterans benefits checks to post offices to make sure they get to Americans on time. The IRS is suggesting that Americans hang on to their final pay stubs of 1999 just in case Y2K glitches interfere with their W-2 forms. The Pentagon will temporarily shut down some of its websites to protect against computer hackers. And many hospitals are addressing the Y2K threat the old-fashioned way, giving bells and whistles to their patients so they can call for help if things go wrong. A United Nations court is taking a hard look at NATO's actions in Yugoslavia, actions which left as many as 2,000 civilians dead. It wants to know if pilots and commanders committed war crimes during bombing campaigns. And that means that a NATO soldier could conceivably join the ranks of someone like Slobodan Milosevic under indictment. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
At issue, a series of deadly air attacks by NATO planes, including the bombing of the Chinese embassy in Belgrade, an attack on a road convoy that included civilians as well as Serb soldiers, and the bombing of a passenger train hit while crossing a bridge. UN prosecutors are considering whether such attacks are war crimes. One independent human rights group has already decided that NATO commanders chose targets that were in heavily populated areas.
We do believe that NATO crossed the line established by humanitarian law and did not do everything it could to spare the lives of civilians. Indeed, that it deliberately targeted civilian objects, civilian structures, as part of its effort to squeeze the civilian population.
American officials say some of the civilian deaths were the result of human error, but that some were unavoidable because civilians lived near legitimate strategic targets. A former White House counsel says American pilots should be regarded as heroes, not war criminals.
The notion that American pilots or American soldiers were involved in human rights abuse in their effort to stop war crimes from being committed, it's a preposterous notion.
Not only preposterous, say angry American officials, but insulting and a waste of time and money by a tribunal that was set up to investigate the very real crimes, torture and genocide, which they say were committed by Slobodan Milosevic and his military associates. John Cochran, ABC News, the White House.
In Afghanistan, some signs of progress in the 6-day-old Indian Airlines hijacking. One of the hijackers left the plane briefly to take part in negotiations. They have dropped some demands, but they still want India to free a jailed Muslim cleric and 35 militants. Afghanistan's government says it will force the plane to leave unless the standoff ends soon. In a moment, the rest of the day's news. In a season for miracles, a woman wakes up to a whole new world. And later, representing planet Earth, 2 by 2.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Gateway.
That was a lot of fun.
The new Blue's Clues Edition Gateway Astro PC was made to hold the kids' interest. It's got 4 Blue's Clues titles, and it's an internet-ready Gateway PC to keep them learning. It's $899 with an Intel Celeron processor. Grown-ups, call 1-800-GATEWAY.
Getting those urban cowboys on horses was trying enough. And you throw in some serious chili, we're talking major heartburn. And we were way out there, and this cowboy, he pulls this Zantac 75 out of his saddlebag. I said, what are you, a Zantac salesman? He said, no, I'm a doctor.
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Hats off to you, Doc.
Zantac 75 for tough heartburn. Doctors know.
If you put something off for an entire year, how would people describe you? Lazy? A procrastinator? How about smart? Introducing Mitsubishi's 000 till 01 event. Buy any Mitsubishi and pay 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments until 2001. Hey, why do today what you can do? Mitsubishi's 000 till 01 event ends January 3rd.
Oh, I should have used Preparation H.
Cool it fast.
with Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. Preparation H Cooling Gel cools on contact.
One of life's most joyful moments can also be one of its most painful. But take comfort in Tylenol, the pain reliever doctors and hospitals choose most.
Come meet your little brother.
Hello. Tylenol, take comfort in our strength.
In Delaware today, a wealthy couple faces charges of child abandonment after leaving their disabled son at a hospital. Prosecutors say Richard and Dawn Kelso dropped off 10-year-old Stephen, who has cerebral palsy, in his wheelchair with a note saying they could no longer care for him. Mr. Kelso runs a $500 million company, and his wife serves on a state advisory council on disability. For one New Mexico family, this is indeed a holiday season to remember. Patty White Bull woke up walking and talking on December 21st. It may not seem so amazing until you consider that she hadn't done that for the last 16 years. ABC's Brian Rooney has her remarkable story.
Just taking a few shaky steps, Patty White Bull did something her family thought she would never do again. She had spent the last 16 years in a coma-like state under nursing care.
You got it. You got it.
She lost consciousness while having a baby who was now a teenager. Her husband divorced her and remarried. She was not in what is medically described as a coma, but the people who took care of her say that for all these years, she was unresponsive.
She just didn't respond real well to anything. You know, she didn't show any emotion. She slept a lot.
The nursing home supervisors say only a few days before Christmas, Patty White Bull started to become alert.
They put her on the phone and she said, "Hi, Mom."
People like Patty White Bull have awakened from coma-like states, but it is extremely rare.
They don't suddenly, like in the movies, wake up and remember everything and start talking normally with people. It's a gradual process, oftentimes over weeks.
Whatever happened to Patty White Bull, she appears to be progressing quickly, but she faces a lot of physical therapy and a lot of catching up on what she's missed over the last 16 years. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Los Angeles.
In Burbank, California, the pilot of a single-engine plane faced a very dangerous finish to his flight. His landing gear was stuck. Air traffic controllers told him how to land without it.
Hold it there. Don't let it land. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Excellent.
The pilot listened, and he landed without wheels and walked away unharmed. On the money tonight, stocks set more records. The NASDAQ, which is driven by technology stocks, closed above 4,000 for the first time ever. It was up more than 69 points to finish at 4,041. And the Dow also scored a modest record. It was up almost 8 points to close at 11,484, its highest finish ever. When we come back, we'll take a closer look at how this roaring economy is changing the country and at one city that it's left behind.
When it comes to traditional luxury, it's anything but more of the same. Yeah! Introducing the all-new 2000 Bonneville, screaming with attitude you'd never expect in a luxury sports sedan. More luxury, more attitude. The all-new 2000 Bonneville by Pontiac.
Hey, Annie Matthews, what's on your plate today?
Today's going to be great, but really busy. 10, maybe 15 cuts.
Lunch is here, Annie.
I'll probably grab a quick bite when I can.
Annie, your 2 o'clock's here.
And maybe get heartburn. I used to think Tums if I'd already eaten. Not anymore.
You can take Pepcid AC whenever you need it. Pepcid AC controls heartburn before, during, or even after you eat.
Of course I can take you.
No matter what's on your plate, today should be heartburn-free with Pepcid AC.
For years, people have won millions from Publishers Clearinghouse by mailing in entries. But now there's another way to win. Introducing PCH.com, where one click could win you $21 million Super Bowl Sunday. Enter by mail or online. But whatever you do, enter.
A significant discovery in eye health may be lutein, a nutrient found in these healthy foods, perhaps as vital to your eyes as the beta-carotene in carrots. And now, Centrum and Centrum Silver are the only leading multivitamins that have lutein. So whatever your age, you can help maintain your precious sight. Look into Centrum and Centrum Silver, now more complete with lutein. Also look for Centrum Herbals, the only herbals backed by Centrum Science.
Quick Dissolve Maalox contains calcium.
Get more calcium than regular Tums with new Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewable Antacid.
The calcium is an added plus, definitely.
And it dissolves faster than Tums.
I can't improve on that.
Quick Dissolve your heartburn away and get more calcium.
We're going to take a closer look tonight at just how much the flourishing American economy is changing people's lives. Today we heard more good news. The nation's leading economic indicators rose 0.3% last month, a sign that the strong economy could last well into next year. The end of the 20th century has been much like the end of the century before it, a new gilded age of remarkable wealth. No one knows how long this time of plenty will last. What is clear is that right now, a lot of people are getting rich. Here's ABC's Betsy Stark.
Most economists predicted it would be a good year, but Diane Swank is one of the few who predicted it would be a great year.
We started off the year with a lot of momentum, and we ended the year with a lot of momentum. It's been just an extraordinary year.
The stock market soared to new records. The NASDAQ in nosebleed territory, up more than 80%, as investors bet technology and internet companies would continue to change the way Americans work, shop, and play.
We've got IPO fever here on the NASDAQ.
Internet mania drove the market for IPOs, initial public offerings of company stock, to its best year ever. 546 companies went public, raising a record $69 billion in cash, and raising the number of American millionaires to a record of more than 3.5 million. But it wasn't just the rich who got richer. The buoyant stock market, fatter paychecks, and rising home prices helped drive the average net worth of Americans to a record. Meanwhile, the best job market in a generation reduced unemployment among minorities, high school graduates, and disabled workers. All of which ignited a consumer spending spree that pushed car sales and home sales to records.
People can't usually buy a home and buy a car in the same month, yet we saw it this time around. And I think that really points to just how extraordinarily strong consumer spending was this year and how extraordinarily strong this economy has become.
All that spending also helped produce record tax revenues in 1999. One reason the federal government was able to balance its budget, and city governments from Los Angeles to New York City could debate how to spend their surpluses. Few economists, including Diane Swank, think 2000 can match 1999's performance, not with interest rates rising and inflation threatening. Then again, the experts have underestimated this economy before. Betsy Stark, ABC News, New York.
There are some places in this country where people might wonder what we're talking about when we describe an America awash in riches. While much of the country is roaring ahead with the so-called new economy, other cities remain stuck in neutral. ABC's Kevin Newman is in Fresno, California, a city of 500,000 people.
This is a city where the recession of the 80s never moved on. Remember double-digit unemployment? It's still here.
How long have you been looking for a job? For about 6 months now.
Remember $80,000 homes? They're still around. And remember big government deficits? Fresno still has one.
We don't have that extra income that goes into doing some of the things that really make an area great.
The pocket change.
Exactly.
There were 5 times the number of bankruptcies in Fresno last year as happened nationwide. It adds up to a city where this is rush hour on one of the main streets, a place where the hustle and bustle of the 90s never happened. So why not? Well, the city's population almost doubled in 20 years, but most of the new jobs were in low-paying agricultural work. And there's something else. Ever since an FBI sting operation snared some of the city's prominent politicians and developers in a bribery and corruption scandal, people here have lost faith in their leaders.
It seems to be unnecessary bickering without a whole lot of direction.
Which in turn has created a sense that Fresno can't get its act together. In short, Fresnans have become their own worst enemy.
In our city, we have focused on every innovative project with its potential for failure, which has led us to inaction. We haven't done anything.
The city has debated a minor league baseball stadium for 7 years. There are a dizzying number of proposals for renewal, all still watercolor dreams on paper.
You want to wonder why our, the economy is down here. Like I say? Stuck in 1982? We're going into year 2000. You know, let's get with it.
So while most of us celebrate an economy flying high, remember there are still places like Fresno trying to figure out how to catch up. Kevin Newman, ABC News, Fresno.
When we come back, a millennium twist on the story of Noah's Ark.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. New Healthy Woman from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes in a natural way. New Healthy Woman.
Good morning, Mr. Schwab.
Morning.
Introducing Velocity from Schwab, the new incredibly powerful online trading software system. With the power to place multiple orders at one time, it's fast and smart. And, if you'll pardon the expression, cool.
50 is beautiful. And to make sure you stay that way, even outdoors in the sun, there's Pro Vital Protective Moisture Cream. It gives you broad-spectrum UV protection, which helps prevent age spots and strengthens your skin's natural resilience. Pro Vital Protective Moisture Cream from Olay. Proven to be why women over 50 look so wonderful.
Ring in the millennium with seafood platters from Red Lobster, shrimp, crab, or both. They'll make any party something to savor.
This is how hundreds of thousands of smokers have quit. It's the gradual step-down method, and you get it only from Nicoderm CQ. Store brand patches have only one step. You can't step down your dose. Nicoderm CQ has 3. You step down gradually, and gradual is the method doctors prefer. Quitting's important. Choose carefully. Nicoderm CQ. The power to calm, the power to comfort, the power to help you quit.
My driving test kind of got off to a bad start.
On calls like this, you want to talk a while. That's why it's always a good idea to dial 10-10-321.
Well, I thought I was in first.
With 10-10-321, you save 50% on calls over 10 minutes. But that's just 8 cents a minute, day or night.
I was supposed to turn on the blinker.
And no monthly fees. And at 50% off, you can go on and on and on.
So finally, I pull out of the parking space.
Talk as long as you want with 10-10-321.
I was one hurting cowboy. Heartburn hotter than a blown engine. And pain? The antacid I took didn't do the whole job. And Pepcid takes so long. Then I tried Alka-Seltzer. Man, if it didn't work a whole lot better.
Alka-Seltzer, the only one with the medicines to relieve all your symptoms.
Boy, it works fast.
And only Alka-Seltzer has the effervescent power to speed relief.
Alka-Seltzer. Made a believer out of me.
Get better relief. Get Alka-Seltzer.
Tonight, she stole $250,000 in goods and says she couldn't stop, even used her daughters as decoys.
Was there any store you couldn't shoplift from? No.
Is she an addict or master thief? 2020 tonight.
Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Dunn. Coming up next, a dog is brutally murdered, and neighbors say the sentence should be as brutal as the crime. Tonight, hear from the dog's owner. And hear how a website could turn unwanted Christmas gifts into cash. Local news is next.
Remember the story of Noah and how he used his ark to save 2 of each species from an apocalyptic flood? Well, they're doing something similar in Chicago to ring in the year 2000. ABC's Dean Reynolds reports that it's a celebration of mankind's diversity.
Chicago is having a few friends over for dinner Friday night.
Welcome to Chicago. I'm Dorothy. So pleasant to meet you.
They're coming from more than 180 countries around the world.
Where are you from? I'm from Tonga. Oh, hi.
2 guests from each nation, a kind of human Noah's Ark to ring in the new millennium.
This way.
The Chicago Office of Tourism said applicants were selected by the city and the countries participating.
Thank you.
Sheep farmers from the Falklands in the South Atlantic.
First time in Chicago.
A stone carver from the Solomons in the South Pacific.
Way different from home, that's for sure.
One Korean brought his own video.
What's really charming about this event is that we're bringing ordinary people.
The two guys from Rwanda might argue about how ordinary they are. Claude and Jean are trackers, guerrilla trackers. From the warmth of Rwanda, they hopscotch to Burundi, Uganda, Ethiopia, Italy, and New Jersey before getting here in a snowstorm.
Oh, it's snowing. Can you see it?
Claude, on his first steps abroad, took in the lay of the new land and pronounced it very, very cold. They knew little of Chicago except the basics.
Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls.
Right.
Yeah.
They used to be terrific. Yeah. They're not so hot anymore.
They haven't seen the Bulls, but today at the zoo they got to see something a bit more familiar.
That's Debbie.
Claude and Jean said they dreamt of coming to America one day. For them and hundreds of others, that dream is coming true this week. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Chicago.
ABC will be marking the millennium with 24 hours of live coverage beginning at 4:50 Friday morning. Peter Jennings has been preparing for this broadcast today in Times Square. Well, he'll be leading our coverage, and Peter joins us now from ABC's Times Square studio to tell us about what's going to be quite a day. Peter, calling it quite a day might be something of a journalistic understatement. How are the preparations going down there?
Well, because it's so many days, Jack. I think taking the measure of this extraordinary time, looking backwards at this century, looking forward to the next one, and taking the measure of time itself is a real challenge for us, which is why I took the day off to come down here and try to get used to some of the hardware. You know, New Yorkers think that Times Square is the center of the universe, and of course it is in some respects, and it will be tomorrow. But this is going to be our world tomorrow. We're going to start way over there on the international date line, and by this time precisely tomorrow, it will be the 21st century in places like London and Paris and all up and down that particular parallel in the world. So we want to celebrate and commemorate the changes in the century with the rest of the world, and that's exactly what we plan to do tomorrow.
Peter, let me ask you a question that my 13-year-old son asked me as he saw some of the promotions for this coverage. We're talking about dozens of countries. We're talking about 7 continents, reports and events from literally all over the world. How mechanically does that get done and get done in real time?
What's your kid's name?
Colin.
Colin. How old?
13.
May not be so easy. Take a look at our control room, Colin. I assume you're watching your dad on television tonight. This is in some respects because we live deep in the age of technology now. This is the biggest technological challenge or technical challenge that we've ever tried on television. It's not tomorrow, by the way. It's the day after. And there in the center, put your hand out, Roger. Roger Goodman is our director. And every one of those monitors in the center of the room and on both sides of the room represents some location around the world, all the way across the world. And so tomorrow, thanks to satellites and landlines, we'll touch in with everybody. And that's our report on World News Tonight. I'm reminded in my ear. Thank you, Jack. See you tomorrow, everybody. I'm Peter Jennings. Good night.
From ABC News tomorrow, get ready to ring in the new year. Take a behind-the-scenes look as New York prepares for the world-famous ball drop for the last time this century. Good Morning America tomorrow. And on World News Tonight, a society where no one tells lies. That's what they predicted, what they thought the world would look like by now. Watch World News Tonight. This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source.